Christopher Nolan, I think, is someone that is out of reach, is someone that I feel is able to do things that very few directors are able to do, to work on a level of size of projects that are and being able to keep his identity alive, and that I feel is a very, 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 I'm probably the biggest Christopher Nolan fan on the planet right now. Tons of directors. But there's one director that I will say that when I'm taking a camera, is always with me. Two directors, in fact. Their name is Pierre Perrault and Michel Brault. They are French-Canadian from Quebec, the directors, documentary directors. Pierre Perrault and Michel Brault made documentaries in the 60s and the 70s in Quebec that had a deep, profound impact on me. People who see their movies say that it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. It's true, I'm very far away from them, but still today, I feel humility in a relationship with nature, a will to embrace nature and to try to bring poetry out of it, and just there's a sensibility in their movie that I keep trying to stay in touch with, that still today I'm working in Hollywood, and I will say that Pierre and Michel are still very close to me when I work, even if I will know that they will hate what I'm saying right now, because they didn't like Hollywood movies at all. They hate Hollywood, and I know that they I don't think they will like my movies, but I deeply love them, and they had a major influence on me.
Do you remember the first time you had an image in your mind of a film that you wanted to make? The birth of cinema in your mind?
Yes, but before saying that, very often people are asking me which are the filmmakers that had the most a lot of impact on me, and I always forget the real answer, because cinematographers have a massive impact on me. And I will name two that had André Turpin is a young, at the time, a young cinematographer that I started to make movies with André, and I remember that his level of precision and the way he approached reality had a huge impact on me, and Roger Deakins. So when I talk about filmmakers as directors, I need to talk also about Roger Deakins, because Deakins is an artist that is really well known for the way he's a master of light. But for me, it's more than that. Yes, he's the best with light and camera, but he's also an insane storyteller. And I made 3 feature films with Roger Deakins, and sometimes people are asking me why, not why, but what. It's pure ego, narcissistic pleasure. I just deeply love with Roger because every single shot is a cinema lesson for me. We share, strangely, similar sensibility. I say strangely because for me he's a master, he's like a kind of a god, and I still think like that. Even if he's a close friend, I still deeply admire him. And but we have something similar about the way we apprehend, the way we approach reality. And so it's very easygoing process between us to do the camera work and to approach lighting and things. But at the same time, I'm working with a master, so I had the deep pleasure of being at school, learning, and that's why I hope I will have the chance to work with him again, because I feel that I have so much things to learn about cinema, and I'm working with Roger is massive, biggest privilege I had in my life.
And actually, Roger Deakins said, Denis makes the kind of films that drew me into filmmaking in the first place when I was a kid. So there is sort of, in that relationship feeds both of you, it seems. How has that collaboration changed over time from one movie to the next? Has there been a progression?
Definitely, I will say the truth. When I did my first feature film with Roger, I had to honestly to kill the fan inside me. I had to just embrace the idea that I will be his director and I will have to direct Roger Deakins. It's something that was I had to. The first days were really awkward. I know it sounds, but I'm not easily impressed in life, but there's some directors that I'm shy in front of them, and I was a bit too much impressed by Roger, and I had to, and from that work, from that first movie, we became close friends, and after that the process was easier. Roger is someone that is very exigeant. Demanding, thank you, and for other people and for himself, he has to be Roger Deakins every single shot. Every shot for him needs to be like a tableau. You know, it needs to be perfect. It needs to be perfect, and that's a pressure. And that pressure sometimes is something that can be difficult on himself and on his temper. And I was impressed by sometimes. His mood on the set. Now I'm totally used to it, and I'm very comfortable with Roger, and I feel that the collaboration went, I will say, more deeper into the process of designing the last movie we made together, Blade Runner. We designed the movie together. I mean, talking about the language, because I needed time. I was lacking time to do it alone, and I asked Roger to come to help me on Blade Runner 2049 to storyboard the entire movie together. And it was by far, to this day, one of the most creative moment of my life, to be in a hotel room with Roger Deakins and a storyboard artist and James, and then to create the movie together. It was like dreaming with someone else. It was a beautiful privilege. We just got through the movies more and more used to one to the other and to the instinct. And it became very, we don't have to talk very often. We just look at each other and we know it's like, it became like a very instinctive and pure relationship, I would say.
Let's go back to the birth of cinema in your mind, that first image that you knew you wanted to make into a film.
I would say something to you, my friends in China, that I don't think I never revealed to, because it's a bit embarrassing, but the thing is the truth, is I think that I started to direct movies as a kid. I had a lot of anxiety. I was a kid that was dealing with a lot of fears, and I was very afraid of the world. And as I was going to sleep, the only way I could sleep was to start to design stories in my mind and to start to create the worlds and to go every night. I remember clearly going through like episodes of movies that I was designing in my mind, and I think it's really the birth of this idea that stories could help me to deal with my anxiety and my relationship with the world, and started in childhood, I think, because very early on I was drawn to writing. I thought I would write at the beginning. I don't think I'm good enough for that, but I discovered the job of a director early on, and I started to be more and more obsessed with this idea of telling stories with a camera. Not having the chance to have a camera at the time, it was not but I was storyboarding. I had a friend that was very good. We were both, he was drawing, I was telling stories, and we were creating worlds like that very early on. And it's like, it was a way to trying to understand the world around me and to escape in the same time, probably. And so, yeah, that's the way I started to make movies, I think.
You have the ability in your movies.
And by the way, I apologize, I will just say this. With that friend, Nicolas Kadima, when we were 12 or 13 years old or something like that, we started to do storyboards for Dune. I was dreaming, I was at the time, I remember reading the book, and we were Nicolas was, still have those drawings of him drawing Paul Atreides on a sandworm, and we were already dreaming about that together when I was a kid.
You, as I was saying, have the ability in your movies to create suspense in orchestrating the feeling of uncertainty and ambiguity in the audience's mind. Can you just talk about the visual and audio methods that you adopt to achieve that, including color palette, production design, sound, cinematography, editing?
The thing is that about tension, it's sometimes when people ask this question to me, and I always feel that it's very intuitive, and the answer is always a little bit boring. But I will try to be a bit more generous this time. I think that one of the key elements for tension is that you need to bring in the screen, in the image, something that is the audience will relate to from a subconscious point of view, that an element that will bring reality. Can be light, can be a plant, it can be something that will make the shots feel that, like in a dream, there's something real there. And light is very strong for that. That's why I'm a strong believer in trying to bring as much to. That's why I love Roger so much. This idea of bringing as much nature in front of the camera as possible, so your brain feel that's what you're about to see could be real. Then you need to induce in the audience mind that there's something that they don't see that is there. And that thing you desire or you're afraid of, but you have to bring in some ways. It can be some clues, sound, or pressure with the camera movement, that there's something there that is about to happen or not. And then, like a pot on the stove, you will open and you will wait for the water to boil. And there will be a moment where the water will be hot enough and will boil that you have to cut. Because that's where the tension is at its maximum point. And so for me, it's about a relationship with nature, time, of course, and the ability to create tension to something that is not there. It's really like the poetic aspect of tension is coming from the absence of something. And I think, again, that the best music to express tension, by far, is silence. And that, I think that when you can achieve that, it's very frightening.
At the end of your first feature film, Un Tendu sur Terre, which was from 1998, the protagonist boards a flight from Quebec to the US, which today seems like a mirror of your filmmaking career, because you started in Quebec and then went on to make American movies. How has your approach to filmmaking changed, or has it changed over time because you have started making these American movies?
Totally. I think that, first of all, at the beginning, I was more someone that was focused on the camera work. I was like trying to control things too much. I was really like trying to, first of all, my first movie, I was very arrogant, trying to express myself, to exist, to create an identity, which after 2 movies, I totally failed. And I decided that I will take things from the other way around and try to not exist, but to communicate something in a way that I will try to be more humble in relationship with the subject matter, and just to be there for the story instead of the story being there for me. I don't want to say that otherwise. And just to put my ego in the right place and just make cinema for the love of cinema and not for trying to exist myself. That was the biggest change. I will say also that my relationship with actor changed a lot. The more I work with actors, at the beginning I was terrorized. I think a lot of directors starting to work with actors, sometimes it's normal. It's a very strange species. It's very the more I work with actors, the more I became comfortable, and the more I became a better director. Became trying to listen more and became more in control with what I'm doing by embracing the idea that I